support. Yo, listen, child support is your judgment. Child support is the judgment for a man who wasn't responsible. Because if you taking care of your children, you don't have to worry about that. If you pick a suitable woman who wants what you want and y'all have an agreement, you ain't got to worry about no damn child support. Y'all know I ain't lying. I am not lying. But I don't want to take up the hour, man. We got this hour to let people in. I seen people in the chat, but I see one brother now that I haven't talked to. So I'm gonna give it to this brother. The other two brothers that I see in the queue, I've spoken with y'all before. So this is exclusive for people I haven't spoken to. And all of these interactions for the next hour will be one-on-ones. The last 3 hours, y'all know how, the last 2 hours, y'all know how we're going to do it. We're going to do it with the power circle, right? This is spiritual. What's going on?
What's up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. How you doing, family?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I appreciate you allowing me to join on. You know, you definitely motivated me into finding myself, into finding a woman that's along my journey, and actually motivated me into starting my channel. This is Spiritual on YouTube. So I started doing that, and we just got over the water series. And what I try to do is I try to have a call to action at the end of any video on what we can do. So we're trying to pass a resolution that deems mass fluoridation through drinking water as a human rights violation. And we can't pass that as a bill because we're just a people right now. But we can pass a resolution based off zip code and based off county. And man, all praise to the Most High. You helped me kind of find that calling within myself. So I want to thank you, New Breed.
Hey man, all praises to the Most High. And that's a very tangible thing you brothers is putting together. And that's needed right there. A lot of people don't understand how much poisons and toxins is going into this.
It's in the water.
Yeah, I mean, I remember growing up in Baltimore, Maryland. People was growing cysts. People were growing cysts, tumors, and everything just from drinking faucet water. And if you imagine what it is now, and the lead that's in the water. So, man, that's something I definitely stand behind. Work like that, my brother. That is powerful.
Thank you, New Breed. You know what? A few things that we see in the Black community that's in drinking water is thyroid issues, decreasing in IQ, arthritis. That's what takes our people out of the workforce, right? So you have arthritis taking us out of the workforce, and the number one thing that puts us on government assistance. So yeah, man. You know, I've been listening to you since 3 o'clock while I was working. I'm blessed enough to be able to have my AirPods in my ear while I work. So I had 3 questions and 3 questions and 3 small statements. I can keep it within a time limit. So if I may get into the questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So what would your advice be to a new YouTube channel that's discovering that they are Israelite? You know, what would your advice be to a person like that wants to use their platform to get the message out, not to procrastinate, BS, tear down a brother or a sister, but actually get a message out? What would your advice be to a person like that?
That's an excellent question, brother. Number one, I would say, as far as creating a platform, especially in YouTube, find your niche. Like, there's going to be 1 or 2 videos that stand out more than others. Just pay attention to what your people actually want to see, and you use that as long as you can. Pretty much as the Trojan horse to get the word out, because you know your content is not relegated to one subject matter, but if it's the subject matter that stands out, you can bring various concepts in that one subject matter. So that way,
I saw that. I can see that.
So that way you can really bring people in from different walks and avenues, and you know, just stay to current events is important as well. Here's the thing about it: us being awakened Israelites. When the news airs, when there's some mainstream media that happens or something happens in the world, we see it from a different vantage point than everybody else. Exactly. So we're able, because we're seeing it biblically. And they're seeing it from even if it seems like drama for them, we seeing the underlying message. So I would say keep the underlying message and gearing people towards the Most High and His Word, because we, at the end of the day, we're just fishing.
You know what, brother? That's why I named my channel This Is Spiritual. And man, I only had 10 subscribers and about, you know what I'm saying, like 30 views, but it definitely from mass fluoridation and medication via drinking water, or whether it's what's going on with the Ukrainian Russian borders. All of this is a spiritual operation. All of this has been prophesied in the Bible. And you see the true message of what's being prophesied in the Bible, because God's word is stand through so many times, through so many purges. But definitely the King James version is the one that you can really relate to what you see just all around you. And I would personally love to continue to work with brothers like yourself. Like if you have any help that you need, I hit you up on Instagram, and I wanted to show you my Instagram is Darby is King. So I've sent you a few messages, but this is me at the commissioner's court office, man. And I had some Nikes on, bro. And we were just talking about, if I'm not a politician, if I'm not a part of the government and I don't have millions, how can I still get in the community and get these things passed to where local government don't mess with me and allow me to do this? You know what I mean?
Right. And that goes to show the powers in the politics that we address. Like like a lot of people worried about what's going on a national level, but the fact that you're paying attention to what's going on in your community firsthand, what you can touch, what you can grab, that's something tangible. City hall meetings and things like that.
Exactly.
That is just paramount. And I think that you're leading by example, brother. And I really applaud. I applaud what you're doing. And also, feel free to crop this video, our portion of us talking. You can put my name in it. If the name helps drive traffic to your platform, then that's what's up.
Man.
You know? And
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. And I haven't been to where I'm at yet, because I've always admired you for the past 2 or 3 years. But I haven't been to where I'm at now to be able to say, hey, can I work with you? So I've been slowly building that, so I won't bring reproach on our brotherhood, on you as an individual, on myself, and where we're going. So I appreciate, you keeping us brothers out there focused, because like you said, from a local community level, if I'm able to get all of the communities and all of the people in my community to raise, to punch, that punch at one time is more powerful than me trying to seek people on a national level. You know what I'm saying?
Real talk.
So I used to live in Atlanta too, by the way, man. I moved here to Dallas in 2019 so I can be closer to my son, because I used to drive 11 hours every 2 weeks after his mother and I split. She definitely had the feminist mindset, but after her and I split, I had to really seek my son. And, just play the halftime song that you were listening to, he was like, that's your judgment dealing with that. But I became a dad at 17. So I didn't know much. And every mistake I made as a man, it was like, oh, well, she didn't like that, so let me change for her, instead of continuing to find myself as a king and as a righteous leader of my household. So yeah, whether it's, I have no problem paying my child support, because I want my son to have insurance, be afforded certain opportunities, have a phone to be able to contact me on, since we have a long distance relationship. But I still feel righteously like no matter the complications I have, that's still a part of my judgment for doing things before I was aware of myself, bringing a child into a chaotic situation. And it takes
a real man to say that. And you know what? You broke the curse, because now you're a father in your son's life to make sure he don't make the same mistakes that you made. And look, I made mistakes. And like I'm not saying it because I'm holier than thou and haven't been there. Let me just make that clear. I fought in the courthouse for custody. Custody and spending this and that.
It's exhausting, man.
It's exhausting. So when I'm saying
exhausting,
right. So when I say what I'm saying, I'm not coming from a place of, oh, that's what you get and blah blah blah. No, it's like this, brothers. I'm trying to, we brothers like this brother here and myself, we telling you so you will avoid that.
Exactly.
See and do.
A man deserves to go through what he is faced with, and God wouldn't put anything on us that we can't bear. So whether it's the judicial system, whether it's time in prison, like the prophets that come before us, we wouldn't have anything placed on we bear. I want to respect your time. So let me hurry up and get through this, man, because I got some powerful questions I'd like to ask you. All right. So Ask New Breeder. Oh, did you hear about the Whoopi Goldberg situation? When she
Yeah, I heard she said, all I heard was she said some anti-Jewish remarks, but
no, man, she made a recipe for how to fry chicken. And she said American Jewish fried chicken. That's the recipe. American. And she got anti-Semitic comments just off that alone, just by saying that, hey, this is the recipe for our fried chicken, and the title was American Jewish fried chicken. Here, I got the article. I'll show it to you.
Wow.
Yeah, man. And you know what? The article drops.
Did she apologize?
Did she apologize? I think she did. The article dropped soon as you were talking. I don't want to waste no time pulling it up, but if you pull it up, man, I know you will see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check that. It might be a news brief. I might have to cover that later on. But yeah.
Okay. So, any thoughts on community outreach / national campaigns? The reason why I asked that is because Malcolm X, before he was going to the United Nations, man, he even met with KKK members. He went to prominent colleges to just make sure everybody was on the same page for what we wanted for Black people. After his trip with Mecca, he totally changed his stance on segregation and things like that. So then he started visiting colleges, meeting with communities that you really wouldn't expect Black people to meet with. So in keeping that spirit alive, because we saw that died during the death and assassination of progressive Black leadership, do you think, how do you feel about like YouTubers and the community partnering together with maybe a national campaign before we go international? Because what I want to do is I want to use my momentum to make America stand. I want to do it or die trying, man. That's just how I see myself going out, collecting all of the data and petitioning the United Nations to hold America accountable, even if we don't receive reparations. Only reparations I'm looking for is what's mentioned in Joel 3. That's the only reparations I want to see, with the Valley of Jehoshaphat and those nations being held accountable. But in our lifetime, do you think it's worth the fight to go nationally and internationally?
Well, this is how I answer that. I believe that, first of all, I think Israel got to be held accountable. I think that we got a lot of infighting. We got a lot of separation. We got a lot of dissension. And I think that from where I'm looking, it seems that we got to really fix our in-house problems. By first acknowledging that we have a problem in-house. I believe, I look at this like it's prison, like jail. Yeah. It should be a respect factor between anybody, like KKK, all of that. Most people, they have their separate groups, and they're not really hate groups, quote unquote, but they stick together. It is what it is. You don't have KKK rolling through our communities doing anything to us. If you respect them, essentially they'll respect you. It's the same thing in a prison house. If you locked up, respect goes a long way. You might have somebody with a swastika tattoo on their face. It may be your cellmate, but long as you respectful, y'all don't even really bump heads like that.
Yeah.
So I say that to say this: where's that same respect in our nation,
in the community? Yeah,
our community. Yeah. So I think that outreach, far as dealing with other organizations, I don't think that's an issue with us. I don't think there's an issue between people, any other organization crossing the line and coming into our community causing any problems. We are our biggest problem. On top of that, America's never going to come together. It's already being divided. So I would say that the division is destined to happen. Christ himself says, think not that I come to bring peace on earth, but I come to bring a sword. Separation, division. So you can expect people to be in clusters and different groups. But I would say that respect go a long way. And I wouldn't be opposed to sitting at the round table talking to anybody. Yeah. Matter of fact, when what's his name? What's the guy's name that made the movie about buck breaking? Tariq Nasheed. Okay. My issue that I'm seeing is they're not allowing Israelite men on their panels, on their shows, on their Tariq Nasheed on the buck breaking movie. Let me use this as an example.
Yeah.
The man had Nubians, Pan-Africans, historians, New Agers, people of all walks of life to talk about our enslavement here in the United States. But
I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, you had Islam in there as well. You had all of these brothers, but you leave out a reputable Israelite male who can tell you the source of what we feel. So I think that there's an essential blackballing of Israelite men.
Of our own people. Do you think that comes from the difference between Bible believers and New Age spirituality, that people try to give more credit than God himself?
I think it's because Israelite teachers offer a solution why we fail. They go to the root of it, and the solution is honor God's law, statutes, and commandments.
Exactly.
Get back to the Heavenly Father, and we can blow the lid off this whole system. And that's what they're not understanding. And the reason why we were enslaved,
the Bible tells us that right before it gets to the curses in Deuteronomy 28. I think you start at 9. It tells you what you're owed if you follow God's commandments. Yeah,
exactly. The issue is we were dealing with despair merchants. That's the issue. These brothers,
true, brother.
They don't want to acknowledge the problem. They don't want to have people on their platforms that's going to acknowledge it, because that's when the funds slow up. They don't want to free us.
If it's not sorcery or pharmakeia, it's almost like it's false prophecy that's really oppressing the people, and it's not always white face. I had 3 comments based off the first hour that you had, and I'll rush through them. Number one, you mentioned about polygyny, and I just want to let you know I'm a supporter of that, and part of your research has made me go into my own journey of research on what works for my family. And man, I really do support that. I think it helps us, especially in these times when the agenda is to depop our society, especially our people. I believe that is returning to God and righteously building your tribe is an earthly solution that we can do as we await Christ. Because the only kingdom and the only thing that's going to stand is Christ's kingdom. And I also, I have an adopted son from my marriage with my wife. With my first wife, and eventually I have my second adopted son. I have another child on the way. So right now, man, I'm responsible for 4 boys. So information like what I get from yourself and the research that I do myself, it's really going to help for my children to come. And so I feel like the goal with polygyny and with goals like us is when you look at, like I mentioned about regarding the United Nations or community outreach, you look at relationships like Malcolm X, it's hard to be focused as a man when you don't know who you should preserve your body for. What woman and feminine energy can protect you sexually and health-wise while you stay on your purpose. And then also, what can a woman witness to a man's legacy and what he did in case he's taken out the game before his time? How can your woman witness and keep that going? And then they paint us out. I'm pretty sure you've had allegations against you, but it's those women that you keep around you that really show the kind of man that you are. I can tell just by reading the comment section about what women think about you. So those women can witness a man's behavior, especially when he's targeted through TIs or whatever the case may be, just to stand trial for who he really is. And then a loyalty. And so do you feel like from your position as a righteous man or as a preacher, obviously polygyny protects women because it holds men accountable for the actions that they make. Do you feel like with everything going on with the BLM, LGBTQ, and all these people that hijack descendants of slaves, plight, and trouble, do you think that we should also campaign for the rights of our sisters to be protected through a man being allowed to have multiple wives?
Well, the Bible says, what I bring together, let no man separate. And that's why I use the example of jumping the broom. I do believe that there's customs put in place outside. Outside of the barriers and the parameters of this system. And the reason why I say that is because anytime we let's say, for instance, we take it up to city council and they say, okay, we'll quote unquote legalize polygyny, right? And
that way you can file on insurance and make sure,
right. Let's say hypothetically they do that, but guess what? There's going to be some way that they're going to find out how the system can get rich off of it, opposed to that conglomerate of your family. There's going to be some way they're going to have their hands in it. That's how it works. Just like marriage, modern marriage these days. If a divorce takes place, somebody's going to get screwed royally. Somebody's going to be at the bottom, and the system is going to eat off of it. So I like to bring it to scripture. Like, at the end of the day, sex is marriage. All you people out here who believe that You could just smash who you want to smash. You can go out here, you ladies out here, think you can go from man to man to man and think because you don't have a ring on your finger or you haven't signed a paper that, oh, I'm single. So the Most High God doesn't see this. That's absolutely false. The Most High God sees you as a harlot. The system doesn't dictate whether you're married or not. That covenant and that bond is heavenly. When you become one flesh, that's between you, that person you with, and the Most High God. So I think we should keep it that way. And so that way it won't be any intrusions. Because if you look at let's say a modern marriage certificate as we know it today, in the back of people's mind, the woman is thinking, okay, if we separate, I can get this, that, and the third.
Yeah, already. Just not.
Yeah. It might not even
from a place of love.
Right.
You're still thinking the worst thoughts, man. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It's automatically going to put the worst thoughts, even if it's on a subconscious level.
Yeah, and exactly.
We just don't need that. We need to make sure that our covenant, our bond is from the Heavenly Father. So that's kind of my take on that one. And really, when it comes to legal or illegal, listen, they call gay marriage two men or two women walking down the aisle. They call that holy matrimony. So the marriage certificate means nothing in this country.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. I'll close with this. You know, if you're ever in Texas, like I said, I know Atlanta like the back of my hand. I used to live there for 5 years and I travel there a lot. But you ever in Dallas, man, if you ever need people to help you stay on your focus and your purpose, you know, I'm going to reach out to you from Instagram. It's coming from Darby. Okay. And I'll make sure I reach out. And then finally, last thing, and I'll get out your way, man. How do people interview you and reach out to you for like endorsements for what they working on, if it's something you approve?
KingBreed404@gmail.com.
King Breed. I'm old school, man. I write everything down. 404 at Gmail. Hey, how the baby doing, man? Think you had one
man,
last year?
Oh yeah, man. He's a complete replica. I can see the spirit on him already. He came in the world like he ain't here to play no games. It's all, man. You know, when they're that age right there, man, it's a beautiful thing because they just came from that. They just came from heaven.
They came from God, man.
They literally just came.
I feel my son kicking it, moving in my wife's stomach, bro.
Right. So when they're at that age, when they just came from the Father, they were just with the Most High.
Yeah.
And you play biblical stuff around them, they feel it. Like they sleep better. Like it's like
I gotta try that, bro.
Yeah, like play something biblical with your newborn. It's like they get this sense of peace on their face. They just came from the Father. So the gospel is already being, and they just miss heaven. Like they came from heaven. So I love my son.
Especially with those medical pillows too, huh?
Oh yeah. And if you brothers got headaches, get the
medical pillows.
Yeah, hey. And the babies, they good for the babies, they good for you, brothers. So
hey man, you know, you didn't have to do this, bro. You know, like you said, people can cut what they need, and you have a platform where you dedicating 5 hours of your time, your life, to make sure people have a better understanding. You know, because the end of the Satan system could end tomorrow, bro. So we really appreciate you, man. I hope you know that we really appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
So I'll talk to you soon, man. Yeah, for real. And I love you, man. If you need anything,
and let me ask you,
please, bro.
Before you leave out, because you know about the water and things like that. Let me ask you this, because there's a lot of bottled waters out there with different BPAs and alkaline water, and you got which water do you recommend? Just somebody who kind of knows what water is bad and what water is good.
I would recommend alkaline waters that don't have too many acidic levels that do balance your pH, because those, I mean, you might as well drink a Coke if you're drinking that. The biggest thing with water is infrastructure. So if you are a poor country, you might need Amazon to come in with the infrastructure to set up filtration systems. But now locally, people are dependent on the infrastructure and they can charge whatever they want. I'm pretty sure you've seen that people are virtually trading water stocks. And that comes from where, all right, in Atlanta, we're having a drought. So we need to test this water from the Coca-Cola factory downtown Atlanta. We're going to test this water that so crops can grow in contaminated water, polluted water, or drought-resistant crops. So that's where GMO crops really come from. genetically modify this crop so it can resist the drought, genetically modify it so it can grow in some sewage, trash, toilet water. So that's the biggest thing, worrying about the infrastructure and speaking against certain infrastructure that's, again, in your own community, because that's where the harm comes from. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, completely understood. Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate your time as well.
Man. Let me know if I can help, bro.
Shalom. And peace, brother. All right.
Peace, brother.
It's a good brother right there. That's some great information he just gave, and y'all definitely follow that brother's channel. And yeah, check him out. And again,